Welcome back to another explainer. We're diving right into a seriously unsettling but honestly fascinating collection of personal accounts from our source text today, which is aptly titled Terror in the 10th Frame. We're going to be unpacking a series of highly perilous encounters that all went down in a place you'd probably least expect: bowling alleys across the United States. It's a journey that takes a totally familiar environment and just completely flips our understanding of it on its head.
So let's start by looking at the bowling alley illusion: expectation versus reality. Look, when most of us think of a bowling alley, what comes to mind, right? It's family fun, casual league nights, the sound of pins crashing, and, cheap pizza. It's an absolute staple of American recreation. But the source text aggressively introduces a way darker reality: shootouts, stalkers, and ambushes. The real power of these accounts lies in that massive disconnect. It's the invasion of extreme, life-threatening danger into what's supposed to be a designated safe zone.
Okay, moving right along to Case 1, Trapped Behind Locked Doors, the Overnight Lock-In. The real terror in this first account is intensely psychological. We're looking at a teenager trapped inside with a highly volatile, grieving man. I mean, just imagine the absolute toll of that scenario. The doors are locked. Suddenly, the massive, echoing space of a closed bowling alley becomes a literal cage. And the threat isn't some faceless movie monster. It's a real person dealing with unpredictable, explosive grief. The source doesn't hand us a neat little resolution here either. It just leaves us sitting in the sheer, suffocating tension of an overnight lock-in, where a mundane recreational building turns into an absolute prison.
Next up is Case 2, Deadly League Night, focusing on the after-game escalation. Now, what you really need to notice here is the terrifying speed at which things escalated. For hours, a standard league game progresses and concludes entirely normally. It's total routine. Then, within just a matter of minutes, the environment shifts to the parking lot and a heated argument ignites. And finally, in mere seconds, a deadly shootout erupts. The text highlights this California incident as a massive wake-up call, reminding us that the transition from a casual hours-long hangout to lethal violence can happen literally in the blink of an eye.
All right, Case 3, Ambush in the Alley, the Dumpster Attack.
This case serves as just a stark, crazy reminder of how unpredictable things can be. According to the text, a former employee down in Florida stepped out for what should have been a standard, relaxing work break, only to be ambushed by a knife-wielding woman who was actively hiding inside a dumpster. Think about the level of situational awareness you'd need for that. We all kind of let our guard down on breaks, right? We assume the immediate perimeter of our workplace is totally secure. This account shatters that assumption entirely, proving that life-threatening danger can literally be lying in wait in the trash right outside the back door.
Which brings us to Case 4, Stalked in the Shadows, the Predator in the Lot.
This sequence maps out a truly horrifying escalation. First off, this woman did exactly what you're supposed to do. She identified the harassment and immediately reported it to the management. But the terror didn't stop there. The predator then followed her right out into the highly vulnerable transition space of the parking lot. And the whole thing peaked with an active attempt to break into her car. The source uses this specific story to show that even when you follow the rules and do everything right, predatory threats in these casual environments can persist and fiercely escalate. So let's look at the bigger picture: shattering the safe space, rethinking mundane environments. When we summarize the varied threats from the text, it becomes incredibly clear why this matters so much. We're talking about overnight entrapments, armed ambushes, fatal shootouts, and predatory stalking. Obviously, none of these belong anywhere near a bowling alley, yet all of them happen there. What you really need to take away from this explainer is a massive lesson in situational awareness. Danger doesn't just stick to dark alleyways or notoriously bad neighborhoods. It spills right over into the spaces where we go to relax, bowl a few frames, and hang out with our friends and families. The author actually hits the nail right on the head with this quote. Collectively, these stories transform a typically mundane recreational setting into a backdrop for criminal activity and life-threatening danger. That is the core thesis of these accounts. It's about that psychological transformation of a physical space. The bowling alley isn't just a bowling alley anymore. In these narratives, it suddenly becomes an arena for ultimate survival. I want to leave you all with a lingering question today. When the lights go down and the lanes close, how safe is your favorite escape? The material we've unpacked today really proves that the places we use to escape reality aren't immune to reality's darkest elements. Keep that in mind the next time you step out, and always maintain that situational awareness no matter how normal the setting seems. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay safe out there and keep learning.